Okay, there we go. Hello, SSL. It's Rich. Wanted to do a quick little, quick little stream here, quick little podcast thing. Um, Partly to kind of say that listen, there's going to be fewer of these probably. Um, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I guess we're going to probably move towards, and this is. So I guess I should explain why. I got a league job, so that's fun. I'm going to be one of the simmers. And assuming everything works out with that and that continues, then I will be doing fewer podcasts. And I think what it'll become is just doing podcasts when things come up that are interesting to chat about, or when somebody wants to come on and join me and we can talk. And when it's less about wanting the TPE each week and more about just doing it when it's enjoyable and there's something interesting to talk about. So let's talk a little bit about simming because it's interesting. I've never done any simming. I've been involved in sim leagues for about 8.5 years, and I've never been a simmer. I've been many other. I've filled many other roles in sim leagues. I was an updater over in the SHL way before the portal. Um, when we were, I think we were 14 teams at the time when I started in the SHL, not including juniors. When I did updating, would have been probably season 27. I want to say is when I started updating. Did that for roughly 7 seasons in total. There was a short intermission between uh, those seasons. I think I did like 5 seasons and then 2 seasons. And the reason I went back was because in like the season that I took off, they raised the pay, and I was like, okay, well, I'll jump back in for a little bit and get some of the improved pay. Um, I also did banking for the SHL way back when the bank was just a giant, insane spreadsheet. It was so crazy. Uh, it was functional, but it was not efficient, or it was a nightmare. Um, so I did that for a while. I don't really recall how long that lasted. That was shorter, and then I went back to banking once the bank got transitioned to a became part of the leagues. Um, it's not what it is now because now it's part of the portal, but it's before the portal there was a another banking system that was no longer a spreadsheet. It was actually sane and functional, and really all you had to do was verify that transactions were valid and there was like a reason for them. Now most of that I think gets I think there still is some validation. I don't know what goes on anymore, but it's a little different now. Let's see. And then for the past about 4 years, basically as long as we have been on FHM, the current sim, I have been. Initially, I was one of, but now more recently, I am the only file worker for the SHL, the primary league, not the J, but the I guess the majors essentially. So I've been doing that for close to 4 years. But I've never even really considered simming over on the SHL. Partly because the live aspect, I feel like I don't know, that adds an element of it's not I don't know, pressure's not quite right, but it heightens everything. Everything's a little bit more like feels if you make a mistake, it's like or it just feels a lot worse, a little more anxious about having to do things live versus SSL where it's recorded and you kind of just do it offline essentially, and then it goes online like I don't know a few hours later. I don't know how long it takes. I think it's generally like the between when the sim is like the deadline for the sim to have been done by the simmer versus like the time when it comes up on the YouTube. I think it's like there's like a 24-hour window or something like that. So it's like pretty quick turnaround. We kind of lost my train of thought there. But so yeah, so I decided I did want to get involved over here in the SSL. This is maybe a slight spoiler for anybody in the SHL, or I don't even know how many people are going to hear this, but I'm going to be taking a step back from the SHL. I don't know exactly what that looks like, how much of a step back that is. I can say with confidence that I had up until very recently plans for my next player, and now those plans are going to be on hold. I don't know what that means. If that means forever, or if that means I'll take a month off or something. I don't know. But the bigger part of what that means is I am going to be in the near future, not immediately, but in the near future, stepping down from file work over in the SHL. Partly because, I mean, I want to, I guess, maybe shift my efforts slightly. Also, I don't know. I'm just a little bit bored on the SHL. I don't know if that's, I don't know. I feel like I need a break at the very, very least. So that's what we're doing. And I did want to get involved over in the SSL. And one of the ways I can do that is because I have time available that I can, put towards a sim league. I can do something to take some pressure off some of the people that are doing a lot of work to keep the SSL going. And it also, it's provides me with some, it'll make me more familiar with the goings on of the league and the players and the teams and that kind of stuff, which I enjoy. So that's cool. So starting, I mean, tomorrow really, I did one sim already, and then starting tomorrow, I'm jumping in to do a major division match day sim. So I'm jumping right in. Let's see how it goes. I think I forgot my starting soon thing up. My whole, because of the simming setup stuff that I did, and I also updated OBS. And I think I don't know which, but one of the two things has kind of blew up my stream setup. Didn't blow it up, but everything got warped and resized, and so I had to like very quickly kind of recover that before jumping in this. And now again, I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, jumping in Monday, doing a major division sim match day. I want to say, is it 4? I don't remember, 3 or 4. Gotta be 3, right? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Oh boy, God, I really wish I remembered what I was talking about before I got distracted by my starting soon sign being up. Oh, okay. Simming. If anybody else is interested in simming that listens to this, I would say, because for me, I guess the biggest issue was I did so much. I over prepared myself for that for the first sim that I did. Um, because I don't know, it's for whatever reason and I'm sure this is probably the case for a lot of people doing this. It's kind of an anxious kind of a thing, like because um, there's a lot of people that rely on it, and there's a lot that goes into getting it right. Um, that it feels, I think, more intense than it really is. Once I got in and did the one this morning, um, it's actually like relatively easy. I should actually, yeah. Let me put up the notes I took. Um, This might be kind of interesting to see. Um, let's see if I can put this up somewhere. Oh, I've already got one. Hold on, this one. I use this for. Okay, here we go. Here's my simmer notes. We won't be able to see all of it, but and again, I don't even know how many people are gonna actually see this. Um, yeah, I mean, like it's just making it's a little checklist I made for myself. The one thing that really drove me insane, and is I don't know why, and it reset itself, and so I put the very first thing I'm checking is the time format of the for the game for the matches. I think the default, or at least mine was defaulted to showing 45 minutes for each half. So it would say, the time, and then it would say 1H for first half or 2H for second half, versus the 45 for the first half, and then counting up to 90 for the second half. Um, and I had that set. I know I had that set. Very, very certain I had that set. And then I went to sim and it was not set. So now I put that top of my checklist. First thing when you load up the file, actually I should probably put that below. I should probably move that. Put the correct file at the top. And then there we go. Check time format. Correct, because obviously the most important thing is having the correct file. This was a thing that's come up in an SHL. Not a lot, but when it comes up, it's kind of like a problem, because then you have to essentially redo everything, because if you're just simming the wrong file, either it doesn't have updates or whatever. That's kind of a pointless sim. Like it doesn't do what you're trying to do. So make sure you have the correct file, the most up-to-date file. That's number one. Following that, I'm gonna check the time format, because for whatever reason it reset on me, and it probably never will again. It'll probably be pointless. And then of course jumping into processing the tactics. There's a bunch of stuff we got to reset to make sure the teams are even, and then obviously save to create a backup from that point, so I don't have to. If something goes wrong, I can at the very least restart with this stuff done. And I would do that all then before actually loading up OBS and even really getting ready to record the games. And then OBS, I've got some stuff here just to make sure I get OBS set up right. And it's there shouldn't be any, like, most of the setup is kind of like handled for you, which is kind of nice. There's a like a what do you call it, scene collection thing you can just import, and it's essentially, there is a little bit of tweaking I had to do, but like mostly set up. And then I get my music up in Spotify, and not nothing crazy. Make sure the match day graphic that you will kind of throw up between games is current. Make sure I've got the Football Manager set as my source, so when I'm transitioning to show the game, it shows the game. And then test my transitions. I basically swap each scene in and out really quick. Make sure my sound levels, which I'm kind of like, the sound level is kind of an active check that's going on throughout my entire OBS prep. I'm always kind of like tweaking with that. And then finally, my Gmail little thing. I've got a little extension in in my browser that monitors my email. So I have to set that to DND, otherwise it pings all the time, makes a little noise, and I don't want that getting caught on this recordings. And then I've got all my recording notes here, so things that happen during the recording process. Essentially, just like making sure I'm pausing and waiting long enough on certain screens so that if people are watching, they can actually digest some of the information on it. Primarily being the biggest difference being like when there's commentary, basically holding a little bit longer at the beginning of the match day to allow the commentators to kind of talk about the day, before we jump into the game. If there's no commentary, then a little bit quicker on that. But outside of that, everything else is basically the same. Actually, I think everything else, from what I saw, I watched a handful of streams and kind of timed things out to see like what what the other simmers were doing in terms of how long they were holding on certain screens and that kind of thing. So I went and timed some things out, kind of saw what was going on, and yeah, and then essentially just took notes. And hope is that like once I've done, I don't know, a couple weeks, I will have to refer to these notes less, or at least the timings. I think the prep stuff, I want to follow these lists every time, regardless of how familiar I get with it, just to make sure that I'm getting everything done right. And then my recording notes will become more of an outline rather than something I have to like adhere closely to. Because for now, with my being still quite new, I am not very comfortable, so I'm gonna have to lean on my notes fairly heavily. Like I said, for first, probably I would imagine, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. We'll see. And then as I get more familiar with things, like remembering which screens to go to, remembering to go and show the player stats at the end of the game, that stuff I will stop. I will not need the notes to remind me to do those things. Is the hope anyway. So yeah, I guess the get rid of that. Yeah, so I just wanted to jump in really quick and kind of do a two-part of letting people know that I'll be doing fewer podcasts, and two, letting anybody who might be interested in simming, letting them know that like it's. I was intimidated going in. Honestly, I was. I wanted to get involved in some way. Um, and I was definitely like, simming. Do I really want to sim? That's like, I don't know. So it's a pressure thing. I mean, granted, you're recording offline, so that element is reduced versus the leagues that sim the games live. But there still is that element of pressure there. And I would say to anybody that is interested that it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and honestly, it's not really bad at all. My most of my anxiety around it comes with is around like hitting my timings essentially, and less about like the. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of pressure in making sure you get all the tactics processed accurately, but that's just, I don't know, that's not that bad. In fact, it seems like there are plenty of weeks where you'll have like one or two teams doing tactics, and the other teams are just kind of hanging on to what they did the previous match day or whatever. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know. That was a little bit rambly towards the end there, so I apologize. But we will catch you on the next one, which I have no idea when that will be. As I said, don't know when the next time all podcast is. But until then.